I like him a lot.
2 weeks before Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced he was leaving the Democratic Party, Donald Trump likened himself to the now independent candidate.
He's very much a libertarian in a certain way, and I think I have certain qualities along those lines too.
So what changed?
RFK Jr. is a Democrat plant, a radical left liberal who's been put in place in order to help crooked Joe Biden.
The reality is that recent attacks reflect Mr. Trump's fear that RFK Jr. could siphon away more votes from him than from Mr. Biden.
A lot of people think that Jr. is a conservative. He's not. He's more liberal than anybody running on the Democrat side.
In early May, Mr. Trump released a blistering video in which he says RFK's views run counter to Republican principles. He labeled Mr. Kennedy a big-time taxer, anti-military, anti-gun, an open border advocate, and an extreme environmentalist. It was quite the change in tone.
Look, I could see having something to do with him into the future. I think I like him.
No one really knows which of his rivals Mr. Kennedy's candidacy will hurt more. Mr. Biden sees Mr. Kennedy as possibly reprising the role played by the Green Party's Jill Stein. Her vote totals in 2016 were slim, but had they gone to Hillary Clinton instead, Mr. Trump would not have been president.
We don't want you, we don't want Trump. These debates should open up.
And like RFK Jr.'s supporters today, Ms. Steins were angry at her exclusion from the presidential debates.
Make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice.
Mr. Biden finally agreed to 2 debates with Mr. Trump, the first taking place June 27th. But RFK Jr. argues he should be taking part too because polling of openly Republican or Democratic Party voters only makes up 54% of the country.
The independents represent 43%. Don't you think that there should be an independent on the stage?
Apparently, Mr. Trump's on board.
He has absolutely no problem with RFK Jr. being on that debate stage.
Kennedy family, followed by our president.
With Mr. Kennedy polling today in double digits, Mr. Biden is taking no chances.
The best way forward for America is to re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to 4 more years.
Not only has Mr. Biden set up a war room to track the Kennedy campaign and make it harder for him to get on state ballots, he's also gathered endorsements from many members of the Kennedy family.
I've listened to him. I know him. I have no idea why anyone thinks he should be president. What I do know is his candidacy is an embarrassment.
Mr. Trump is smart to hammer Mr. Kennedy on the issues and cast him as further to the left than Joe Biden. For one thing, it clarifies things for Republican and independent voters who might otherwise buy the nonsense that Mr. Kennedy is conservative.
He is a radical left person. So Republicans, get it out of your mind that you're going to vote for this guy because he's conservative. He's not.
For another, the more vehement Mr. Trump's attacks on Mr. Kennedy are, the more the former president increases RFK Jr.'s attractiveness to Democrats already disenchanted with the president. Mr. Kennedy's appeal is that he is the authentic outsider challenging the Beltway establishment.
If you have a president who can censor his political opponents, right, he is the license for any kind of atrocity. That is a genuine threat to our democracy.
Mr. Kennedy even asserted his belief that President Biden is a bigger threat to democracy than Donald Trump.
Use of the courts, the use of prosecutors, the use of all these federal agencies to change our political landscape is wrong, and we should be debating about it.
Certainly, Mr. Kennedy embraces many principles that cannot be reconciled with traditional Republican conservatism. But so does Mr. Trump.
And I accept your invitation to
That's why he chose Mike Pence in 2016, a politician with a solid Reaganite record, to reassure Republicans doubtful of what exactly MAGA stood for.
I will be voting for Trump.
Mr. Trump might be wise to make a similar choice this year.
Trump would be smart to reach out to the millions of people who voted for me and continue to support me, and not assume that they're just going to be with him.
But Mr. Kennedy does have a vulnerability that may make him unpalatable to left-leaning voters who might otherwise be Mr. Kennedy's natural constituency. These are the protesters denouncing the president as Genocide Joe.
I have a better record on Israel than anybody in this chamber today. I'm the only person who has publicly objected to the $2 billion payout that the Biden administration is now making to Iran, which is a genocidal program.
What Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden now realize is that November's election may be decided by whose definition of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. voters find most persuasive.